I'm trying to do if you don't know that. You don't know what I'm trying to do.
I'm the jury out. I'm not going to argue with you.
Then don't. Because I'm not arguing with you either. I'm stating facts.
You're raising your voice. It's
because I'm tired of you always making a record.
At me.
You're making a record of me trying to look bad. I know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work.
I'm making a record of what's accurately
You're making a record of incorrect statements. That's what you're doing. You're not making a record of not being...
I'm advising you to be quiet because the jury's coming back out.
You're advising me to be quiet? Is you telling me to be quiet?
I'm advising you to be respectful when the jury comes out.
Are you telling me to be quiet or are you asking me?
I'm asking you and advising you.
Thank you for correcting that, because don't nobody tell me what to do. I don't tell nobody else what to do.
I'd appreciate
we're all adults in here. I've never told you to do it.
Child, they about to tell you what to do for the rest of your life. Okay, they about to tell you when to eat, when to sleep, when to shower, when to cough, when to spread them cheeks, when to get the soap, when to give the soap. Child, you about to be told what to do for the rest of your everlasting life behind bars.
Anything at all.
Sir, I'd appreciate if your tone of voice would change.
I would appreciate if you would ask me. I'm a grown man with grown kids. Ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that. Nobody. I don't have a problem with doing what you ask me to do, not tell me. Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record. But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive. Come on, man. Stop. Just stop it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions.
All right, sir. Mr. Brooks, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, I do. And I object to being called that name for the record. Do you recall giving a statement to Officer Probst?
I don't know his name, but I've talked to an officer.
And you did talk to an officer that night?
I talked to an officer on the phone. I did not talk to an officer that night. I mean, on the phone I did, but not in person.
So it was a conversation on the non-emergency line. Would that be fair to say?
It was on the non-emergency line. I actually confirmed it after I called to make sure I was on the non-emergency line.
Do you recall the description that you gave at that time?
I do. Well, my best of my knowledge was that you were either black, Latino,
who's you,
or mixed.
Who's you?
Well, you have to let him answer the question first before you interrupt him with another one. Go ahead with the description you provided that night.
I said that the individual was either black, mixed, or Latino.
So it would be fair to say you didn't know at the time?
I was giving a general description.
So it would be fair to say that you weren't sure?
I was positive that it was you.
Who is you?
You. I'm looking at you.
And how did you come to that conclusion, the you conclusion?
I'm looking at you.
How did you come to that conclusion? Did you?
What conclusion? Because you restate the question.
You're saying that you gave a description on the non-emergency phone line, correct?
It was on a non-emergency line.
So it would be fair to say at that time you had no name or knowledge of who the person was in your backyard. Would that be fair to say?
I had no idea who you were.
And so how can you say how can you say you then if you had no idea?
I'm looking at you. You are the guy.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
You and I were standing in the same yard looking at each other.
So is it possible you saw something on the news?
No, I had no idea who you were.
Interesting. Do you recall giving a description of approximately 5'9" and 160 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, or would that be accurate?
I didn't have a tape measure out. It was just a guesstimate.
Would it be fair to say that since you keep identifying me as you, would it be fair to say that I'm not 5'9" nor 160 pounds?
You have your shoes on or off right now?
Would it be fair to say that I'm not 5'9", 160 pounds?
If you take your shoes off and step out of them, they could have a better.
I'm not going to have them do that, but if you're able to answer the question, do you agree?
I'd have to be standing next to him. That's what I made my judgment from. We were about 2 feet from each other.
Does it look like I'm 5'9"?
I don't know. We were a lot closer.
Does it look like I'm 160 pounds?
Objection.
Grounds.
It's irrelevant as to his appearance today, just like his hair isn't in dreadlocks today.
Sustained.
Objection.
The trial was a mess. It was a complete shit show. Okay? He was arguing with the judge, telling her her life ain't on the line. His is. He had a lot going on, child. Time after time after time.
None.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. I would like an update on whether Mr. Brooks filled out a subpoena for Dawn Woods and provided that to the state. Has that been done?
No, we haven't received anything, Your Honor, and obviously she can appear here voluntarily if Mr. Brooks wants to arrange that. I don't believe a subpoena is necessary. We had subpoenaed her, and she was under state subpoena. So I know that at least some point she had notice, but our position would be, Your Honor, that we will not be responsible in any fashion for producing Miss Woods. Mr. Brooks talks to her on a daily basis. If he wants her here, he can produce her on Monday.
Yeah, they ain't got to worry about that.
So I just wanted to know, because I know a subpoena form was filled out.
If I want her to be here, she gonna be here.
I agree with
So
the
just
state that
know that.
she could certainly appear.
It ain't even got to be no arrangement. All I got to say is come. She gonna come. That simple.
Mr. Brooks, do you intend to call her as a witness? Because I'm directing you to
said-
have her
we
here
said
at
all
9
that- We said all
a.m.
that at the beginning, man. Like, I don't even want to be in here that much longer. Just do what you got to do so I can get up out of here. I'm tired of being in the courtroom that has no integrity whatsoever. How can you even call yourself a
Mr.
judge?
Brooks, I need to make a record of some
I need to
things.
make a record too.
You don't
When
need
am
to-
I going to get the chance to do that?
All right, I need to make a record. He's being removed to the other courtroom. He is yelling at me. He's not going to let me make a statement or make the record that I need to make.
I'm finna
He
leave
hasn't
anyway,
sat
so
down
what do it
for
matter? You
the
can
better
hold me
part
in
of 2
contempt
hours.
all you want. You can hold me in contempt all you want.
I'm not holding
all
you
gotta
in
do is tell me
contempt.
if it's criminal or civil, so I can hit
All right,
you with you.
I need to
with
clear
what you
the
know is
courtroom because
coming.
I do need
I'm
to
gonna
make-
give you what you know is coming.
I need him to go to the
If
other
it's civil-
courtroom because I do need to put some things
If
on
it's
the
civil,
record. The record should
Where's the
reflect
contract between you and I?
that Mr. Brooks
If it's
is
criminal,
yelling at me.
what is the crime?
He is.
Who makes the claim? And what
He
is
is.
the...
I will make the record when we get back. I will step off, but Mr. Brooks, you're being
It ain't
taken
no
to
Mr.
the next
It ain't no Mr.
courtroom.
Brooks. Don't try to address me
Thank
like
you.
that, like we cool. You don't have no integrity. How can you even call yourself a judge? Making tacit agreements, being biased, judicial misconduct, trying to steal somebody's system.
So I'm not
But
arguing with you,
I
sir.
know, I
One
just
bit.
want you to know that I'm not arguing with you either, but I was right in the middle of finishing what I was saying.
So I need to stop you for a minute, Mr. Brooks,
I don't
because
consent to that, Your Honor, because
you don't have to consent.
I
But
don't
here we go.
consent or agree to
me.
being cut off right when I'm trying
All right,
to
I'm just
provide
going to
the
talk
court with
over him for a
information.
minute. I do not have any other information regarding the COVID-19 protocol, meaning anything specific about you, Mr. Brooks, other than what was put in the inmate communication, which reads, due to just learning I'm on COVID-19 protocol, I respectfully ask for all proceedings to be adjourned at this time, which is why I asked you if there was any other information you wanted to provide me as I consider your request, because the jail has not provided me with any specific information regarding the reason you were placed on protocol, whether you were exposed, whether you are showing symptoms. They cannot provide me with that information absent you giving them permission by signing an applicable authorization to do that. Without that, I have to rely upon you to provide that information to me if you so choose.
That is incorrect, because just yesterday you were trying to obtain the witness list that was in my cell. You had noticed that one of the jurors, the lady in the black that's closest to the screen in that corner chair over there, I recognized her from my initial appearance. She flipped me off coming in to my initial appearance and coming out. I know it's her for a fact. I seen her about like how I'm looking at you right now, so I know for a fact that's her. I don't want that to end up being an issue. Is this some type of way that could be addressed by Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks, you had an opportunity to exercise preemptive